I bought 2,000 fragrances, so you don't have to. I mean, at this point, that's kind of where we're at. Just years and years of collecting. It doesn't happen overnight. Nobody should be looking at that and going, I want to do that someday, because it's outrageous and way too much. But that's just kind of the position or the situation that I'm in. And so kind of looking back on everything that I have, talking about, of course, in production stuff, these are just, to me, kind of some of the best right now. There's so many ways to approach this video. I already said in production, you know, if I could feature discontinued fragrances, this would take a completely different turn. I'm not going to do that because it's just, well, it's unfair to do so, but definitely would change things. But these are all ones that you can buy right now. You're going to notice some new fragrances, some familiar faces, because they're kind of they're being talked about a lot right now, and that's for good reason, because I think we've actually taken a good step in the right direction, which maybe we'll talk about more later. But we've had some really good new releases. Got a couple classics in here as well, but I'll tell you, a lot of these right now are just really, really good stuff, and I wouldn't be featuring them if they weren't. All right, let's get things kicked off with Versace Eros Najim. Man, never thought I'd be able to really hold this one up and feature it, because I mean, it just, at first it really wasn't looking good. Just an overseas exclusive edition, sometimes that can be really tough. And you can get this one right now. I'll link it, first link down below. $100 full presentation, 80 to 85 for a tester. Okay, and that's a steal. Now the retail price is like $155 plus all the extra costs going along with that. So definitely some really good savings. But when this one first came into stock, retail here in the US was not an option. A lot of people found out about it through me first, because I sent out an email to my mailing list when it hit discounters for the first time ever in the United States. And as you can imagine, it sold out really quickly. Now it's back and been pretty consistently in stock, at least for the time being. I don't expect that to last forever, especially given the exclusivity of it. At some point, it's going to go back to being hard to find. So don't drag your feet too much. It's not worth it. Just get it now. That way you don't have to pay a crazy amount for it in the future. So it's got caramel, oud, orange, incense, patchouli. Believe I got that right. Yep, looks like it. Sweet, warm, spicy, oriental, obviously, as you might be able to expect. It smells wonderful. Does it smell a lot like the original Eros? No, not so much. It's definitely a big change. Different than all of them. Different than Flame, different than Energy. It's in a league of its own, but it's, to me, kind of a breath of fresh air. Something where it's cool to have a new release that really takes a big turn, because a lot of stuff these days, of course, kind of, smells similar, maybe blends in to some extent or another, but that's not the case with this. Like I mentioned, the future of this one is very much an unknown. So, you get attached to it now and you might never be able to get it again in a couple of years. You just never know. And it makes me wonder, they were so quiet with the Eros lineup for so long, and then they started dropping flankers at a bit of a quicker rate. Is that going to continue to go? Or are they going to kind of slow down again? I mean, they even brought Versace Eau Fresh back from the dead and released Eau Fresh Extreme out of complete nowhere. Dylan Blue should be next. At least I really hope. But, it makes me wonder the future of some of these lines. Really good scent, great for the cool weather. Obviously, it's not going to be the best for right now, so something I would pick up and stash away for fall and winter time. Now, this next one is Gucci Guilty Elixir. So the good news about this one is it's not some exclusive limited edition, kind of hard to find type of deal. It's available at all retailers, and then now been on discounters for some time now. Now, keep in mind, it's an elixir, it's an extrait, it's a 60 ml bottle. You're still paying like $115 for it. That's a lot of money for a 60 ml bottle, okay? Nowhere near as much as Sauvage Elixir, or maybe a couple of the other more popular elixirs coming in at the smaller bottle size. but nonetheless, still on the pricier end of things. The good news about Sauvage Elixir is at least they give you a 100 ml option where you can get a better price per milliliter. That's not the case with this one, at least not yet. To be fair, you really don't need a ton of this. 60 ml for most of you guys with an established collection is gonna last you a lifetime. I know it's gonna last me a lifetime, so I shouldn't even waste my breath complaining about it. It just hurts knowing that you paid that high cost for 1 ml of scent when you know that sometimes you can get it for less. The reason why I like this one so much is because it smells to me a lot like Reflection Man 45 Extrait by Amouage. Mainly the Extrait because of the added richness, depth, and amber complexity of this one that is not so much found in the original Reflection Man EDP. The original is going to be fresher. They both still use, and this still uses a ton of white florals, but the EDP is fresher leaning. The Extrait really beefs things up and just it makes it more of a heavy, powerful wearing experience. Now the problem with that one has been it retails for $500 and then you couldn't get it anywhere. It's in stock on discounters now, like $320 or so, $325. Testers come up for $200 every now and then, and I tell people, and that sells out quicker than anybody would like, but sometimes you get really lucky there. But other than that, you could go for something like Guilty Elixir. Okay, you're still paying a lot of money, but you're not paying over $300 for it. And to me, it's a super, super unique, luxurious, and premium smell. Those two kind of go together, premium, luxurious, whatever, but unique stands alone. It really is just a unique wearing experience that aside from the other two Reflection Mans, you really don't get anywhere else, and pretty much nobody else around you is going to be smelling anything like this. Because that retail price that most people pay, like people that aren't in the fragrance community, are really going to be scaring people away. So you're not going to be smelling that on everybody like maybe you would with Gucci Guilty Black, for example. All right, this next one, Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau Flower. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is. There's the flower. Just goes to show with these Le Beaus, the coloration of the juice is everything. That's what gives it its look. So be warned, if you start wearing yours and it gets low, it doesn't look cool anymore. This one has violet leaf, kumquat, geranium, lemon, musk, just basically citruses up top with a real nice punchy, sweet, fruity accord, this watery type of smell or feeling from the violet leaf just kind of makes sense there. And then just a nice, easy white musk in the dry down. I really like this. I didn't think I was going to because aside from a few exceptions like Reflection Man, I'm not a big fan of florals, at least, predominant floral scents. Again, there's a couple that I like, a lot of them I do not. So just the name Le Beau Flower, I was thinking, yeah, that's probably gonna be a pass for me. I got it though, and I was way, way impressed. Like really, really surprised. And I think I like it more than Paradise Garden, believe it or not, which I still love, still really enjoy Paradise Garden. I still like the original Le Beau Le Parfum and the original Le Beau as well. But this one, it's different in a good way. It just has this real unique texture to it that none of the others have. And also, believe it or not, it's the freshest in the lineup. So where even Paradise Garden still has a decent amount of that sweetness later on. It does have the green mint and stuff off the opening, but sweeter later on. There's not a ton of sweetness out of Flower Edition. It's actually pretty fresh and pretty mild throughout. Again, some of that sweetness might come from the fruitiness, but it's a fruity sweetness with a fresh balance and not like a Tonka, coconut sweetness or something like you get in Le Beau Le Parfum. So it's just a different way of approaching it, and I just find it to be the freshest one yet, which a lot of people would appreciate. Now let's go for something like myself. This is a Le Parfum. Really like it. I like it a lot. And also, price has been coming down on this one a good amount. It's not the newest one anymore, so that's going to help extensively. Once the new Absolute hits discounters, over time, that's going to help drive the price of this one back down and also probably drive the price of the EDP down as well, which is already pretty reasonable. This one has orange blossom, amber, vanilla, some patchouli. It's not what you might expect. Still very fresh from that orange blossom, of course, but you are getting a bit of a sweetness, a bit of vanilla, kind of giving it just somewhat of a nighttime feeling, a little bit more of a slightly classy, well put together type of smell rather than just being straight up fresh and casual all the way through. I find that you can probably do a little bit more with this one. I think it can probably be more suitable for a wider variety of situations compared to some other just straight up fresh scents out there on the market. Great compliment getter, of course, as you could probably imagine. It's a YSL and all of the lines are going to be really good at that. Something that I do enjoy a lot. And on paper, the name, the marketing, everything about it, it just maybe doesn't look that good to you, but it's actually really good. It's impressive, actually, for what it is, and it might surprise you. All right, this next one, Parfums de Marly Layton. All right, now, I know, you don't want to pay this much, you don't have to. You can get Alharamain Detour Noir. For all intents and purposes, we're kind of just... Now, I know if you don't want to spend this much, you can go for Alharamain Detour Noir, right? Definitely an option to go for, and many other Layton clones as well. So you could take your pick there. Figured I'd toss the original one in just because there are times where you can get it for like $190 to $200 when it's on sale, which is still, of course, a lot of money, but for 100 ml niche, it's not the worst I've seen by any means. So the main issue is waiting for it to come on sale. You know, Joe Mashot, Fragrance Buy will restock them and run them on sale for brief periods, and then it goes back to, you know, $300+ again. So you just got to wait around for the right time. That's why being on my mailing list is so helpful. But yeah, Layton, it's an icon at this point. It's like, to me, the next Creed Aventus. Will it ever be as big and popular as Creed Aventus? I don't think anything will. At least not when we're talking niche, okay? You know, when you talk about the Dior Sauvages and Bleu de Chanels and stuff, that's all different. That's designer with huge just influence. But for a niche brand to get that level of popularity, it's probably never going to happen again to that level. But one that's would be somewhat close behind it in one way or another would be like a Parfums de Marly Layton to me. Vanilla, tonka, okay, a bit of a kind of mintiness off the top, apple, cinnamon. I mean, you pick up on all this stuff. You don't even need a cheat sheet for this one because it's really pretty easy to break down. All that stuff sticks out pretty good. Smells great. So definitely recommend getting Layton into your collection, whether it be via a bottle of Layton or one of the many clones to choose from, which I've done videos on. Now, we can also go for something like, oh, there it is, Armani Code Eau de Parfum. What is this one all about? Well, to me, it's actually pretty close to Armani Code Profumo, a discontinued scent that is amazing. And it's been discontinued for some time now. And then they re-released it, essentially, quite, you know, about 90% of Code Profumo. They brought back and bottled it into Armani Code EDP. Now keep in mind, this is, well, take a look at it one more time. New style bottle. There was at one point an Armani Code Eau de Parfum in the old style bottle, which did not smell like Armani Code Profumo. Okay, so make sure if you're buying Armani Code EDP in an attempt to recover Armani Code Profumo, that it looks like this, the refillable new style bottles. You really can't find Code Profumo EDP, the old style, anywhere anymore, but just being safe, being cautious with it, that's how you would know. And this stuff is pretty reasonable now as well, and by that I mean, you know, around $100, okay? It's not cheap, but none of the Armanis are, none of the big designer brands are anyway. For discounter pricing, about $100 or so, that's a pretty good price for these. If you know Armani Code Profumo, you know enough about it already. Strong focus on tonka bean, kind of has this fizzy root beer type of smell to it, a lot of amber as well, just a real classic for wintertime. You could also go for something like Valentino Uomo Intense, you know? Why does this one stick out to me out of all the fragrances I've been talking about? You know, just, I mean, not these, but like, you know, 2,000 plus bottles. Really? Why this one? I don't know. Now, obviously, there are obvious ones, Uomo Intense, and so many paths that could have gone down. But again, we're trying to highlight some newer ones and also some ones that aren't blatantly obvious. And to me, this is still one that is maybe easy to overlook, hasn't been talked up to a huge degree, but personally could hold up to that, meaning I think this one can really live up to the praise that it does get you know, here and there. I think it's worth the money, basically. Got vanilla, lavender, vetiver. That's all they give you. That's fine. That's plenty. Sweet meets fresh, meets woody, meets kind of soapy and clean as well. It does literally everything. You cannot like mess this one up. You cannot wear this to a wrong scenario. It works for anything, anytime, anywhere, any place for any person, any age. Alrighty, we're gonna finish things off with Acqua di Gio Parfum. Okay. Now, which one do you want? Do you want the 125 ml? Do you want the 100 ml? Really, really weird why they did that. I don't know. Now, this one, the 125, old style, has a click cap. New style 100 ml, back to magnetic. So there's going to be your difference. And of course, the capacity. Other than that, smell-wise, there is none. There's no difference. So when you're buying these online, you got a couple decisions to make. Do you want the greater capacity and lose the magnetic cap, or do you want to knock 25 milliliters off and get the cool magnetic cap and maybe spend a bit less? Well, of course, it's probably obvious for a lot of you guys. I'll take that 100 ml with a magnetic cap, but I do have both. Armani Code Parfum, well, it is Acqua di Gio Profumo. Acqua di Gio Parfum, well, it is Acqua di Gio Profumo, which of course was discontinued, but that doesn't even matter anymore because it is back again in a new bottle with a different name, just like we talked about with Armani Code EDP. It's another literally any situation type of scent that you cannot go wrong with. It's as simple as that. Alrighty guys, there you go. I've tried a lot of fragrances. I really have, and I bought so many as well. Some I've tried and haven't bought, but I've also blind bought, basically my entire collection. So out of all that stuff, taking a step back and looking, these are really standing out to me right now. I'll link them all down below. Again, jump on that free mailing list if you want to find out about things like Eros Najim, for example, coming into stock for the first time ever in the United States, or even like restocks on stuff like Le Beau flower. Right now, your only options retail, 144 bucks. If you want to be able to grab this one at a discount, it'll pop up at some time, and I'll let you know by signing up down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.